theme of Master the Shift. And today, last week we did focus. We're going to shift into focus. This week we're shifting into flow. Yeah, we've got to shift into flow. And flow is learning to trust the process, right? We've got to learn to trust the process and release the pressure. Trust, I need somebody to type it in the chat. Trust the process, release the pressure. Trust the process, release the pressure. So many times we put so much pressure on ourselves. And I remember, that used to be my past behavior until I realized that when I put so much pressure on myself, it caused me to flood. I remember some years ago, I had some car issues and someone was kind of walking me through some things I needed to do until help would arrive. And they were like, okay, this is an automatic car. They're like, press the accelerator and start the car and just, keep your foot on the accelerator and rev it, rev it. But the person also advised me not to flood it. I'm like, what the heck does that mean, not to flood it? And then they explain. So we don't want to overflow things. We want to be in flow. It needs to be smooth. Take the pressure off. Sometimes we, for example, if those of you who cook, you may have a pressure cooker for those things that you want to kind of hurry up and cook, maybe like some dry beans, like chickpeas and whatever else, or some kind of meats. You put it in that pressure cooker and the pressure cooker get it softer, done quicker, you cook it quicker. But I want you to take the pressure off today. I want you to be in flow. And when we think about flow, I just have this one question that I would love for you to answer for yourself. Now, have you ever felt like you were trying so hard, you were pushing and pushing and pushing, and nothing worked? Yeah, nothing worked. And then you have to say to yourself, maybe I need to step back a little bit. That's when you're pushing and pushing, things are not happening. That's when you know you're out of flow. That's when things are not flowing for you. So today I want you to shift. I want you to shift to flow. Right? I need you to understand what flow looks like in your life. I had to take that same pill, y'all. That same pill of letting go of pressure and reaching for flow and getting to flow. When we are in flow, we're saying that we're moving in the right rhythm. We're not forcing things, but we're also not giving up either. Some of you might be having some challenge in your relationship and you're pushing this. You got to do this. You got to do that to make sure you fix things, right? But sometimes you need to allow whatever those one or two things that you did already to give it time to see if there's any change, if there's any shift, right? So when you do that, you're allowing yourself time and opportunity to get into flow and rhythm. For those of you who swim, I've heard the stories because I don't swim yet. And it's like when you're swimming, the recommendation is to swim with the current, to go with the flow of the water. Because anytime you try to go against it, it's much harder. When you're in flow, you get the little help. So if you get tired, you go with the flow and the current will take you in the direction where you're going. So can you find a place in your life right now that you're struggling, whether it's in your finances, whether it's in your friendship, whether it's in your focus, whatever that thing is? Where are you struggling? Is it in your relationship? Is it something at work with your significant other? Where is it that flow could work for you if you take the pressure off? Listen, I had to learn that thing, and that's a muscle I'm still building, y'all. Getting out of pressure and leaning into flow. Because flow is where you see things kind of streamline and move with rhythm. Who don't want a little bit of rhythm in their life? So there's 3 shifts that I want you to make to get into flow. And the 3 shifts for flow, number 1 is shift from control to trust. Write it down. Shift from control to trust. When you shift from control to trust, you're saying you don't have to control everything. You've got to know that you've put in the work, and you got to trust that the work that you've put in, that even though you don't see anything happening, you're going to trust what you've done. You're going to trust the process. You're going to get your hands off of it and just trust what you have done. You have done something. So wait to see. For example, if you put a seed in the ground, you plant a seed and you've been watering it and it's getting the sunlight, you're going to trust that the God who designed this thing is going to let things happen as it's supposed to. You're not going to keep digging it up and just checking. I'm just checking. You're going to trust the process, right? So you need to shift into flow today and trust the process, the thing that you've already started doing. Trust that thing. That's number one. Number two is shift from pressure to presence. Type that in the chat too. Shift from pressure to presence. So when you shift from pressure to presence, you're saying, instead of worrying about something, I'm going to wait. I am going to wait until tomorrow. I'm going to be present in the things I just did. I'm going to be present. So here's a question that you can ask when you're shifting from pressure to presence. You might be saying, what's the next right thing I can do? Just one more thing. Is there one more thing instead of getting back into that pressure place, right? When you focus on being present, you're saying you're going to leave that pressure off and you're going to start to just rest in it. And then you'll see yourself lift him up a bit. Hi, Dr. Renee. Thank you so much for being here. So that's shift number two. Shift number three is shifting from overthinking to alignment. Shift from overthinking. Listen, overthinking, yeah, I can get into that space sometime. I have to admit, that's my confession. I have to admit, sometimes the pressure's on and I put it on myself. Sometimes I'm not trusting the flow. I'm not trusting the process. Sometimes I'm in that overthinking place instead of alignment. I need to get into that space of alignment. And I offer that to you as well. When you're in the alignment space, it looks like you're saying, okay, I don't want to be stuck anymore, because when you're in overthinking, you get stuck. You're like a hamster on this wheel and you can't get anywhere. You're just in the same spot moving over and over. Let go of overthinking and reach for alignment. So we're shifting, y'all. We're shifting into flow. Right? So the three things: you're going to shift from control to trust, you're going to shift from pressure to presence, and you're going to shift from overthinking into alignment. It's so important that we make these shifts in our lives so that we can see the outcome. And keep asking yourself questions. If your flow is not going well, if it's not happening, ask yourself, is there something that I need to let go of? Do I need to just step back and just observe and just wait and see if there are any fruits coming back from the work I already put in? Trust the rhythm that you started. So this week, I need you to notice one place in your life that you can say to yourself, I am going to stop forcing things. I'm going to stop mashing the accelerator and pause, touch the brakes. Because when you pause, that's where you feel flow. Flow says pause, breathe, catch your breath, and then you will see the flow and the rhythm. But when you're under too much pressure, you putting yourself under pressure, you putting somebody under a lot of pressure, they'll be like, listen, back up and let me go. You cannot do that pressure cooker thing. You've got to let go and trust the path. Ask yourself this question: how can I move from flow and how can I move to flow by letting go of pressure? How can I move to flow by letting go of pressure? What are those 1, 2, or 3 things that you can do? Identify those things and do them. Check them off, because you're going to get the most out of your experience when you're into flow and you let go of the pressure. So I'm going to wrap up here because I need you to think about it and talk back to me and share with me, what is that thing that you need to let go of the pressure and lean into flow. So I want you to remember, flow doesn't mean you're not doing anything. Flow doesn't mean that you're neglectful. Flow saying, I'm going to do this thing without stress. I'm going to do this thing without the pressure. Because those of you who drive, especially an automatic car, there are 2 pedals on the floor. You have the accelerator and you have the brakes. And if you want to get to your place safely, wherever it is you're going, You cannot just press the accelerator, right? The accelerator will take you to a place quick, but you could also crash, hurt yourself, or hurt somebody else. The reality is you've got to engage the brake, and brake is where your flow come in. So if you do the accelerator and you pause at that yellow light and not push through it, thinking, okay, I'm going to beat it and not let the red catch me, and you pause and you're intentional about pausing, catching your breath, that flow, that rhythm of the accelerator, brake, you will get to your location safely. So today I want you to lean into flow, shift into flow. All right? Tell us how you're shifting into flow. Flow is so critical for your well-being. So many of us put pressure on ourselves. Before you know it, you're getting anxiety, you're getting stressed out. These are things that I talk with my clients about. We try to develop rhythm. That's my goal as their coach, coming alongside you and them in the spaces, in the trenches, to see where they're stagnant, they're stuck, they're not going anywhere, but the pressure is on anyway, right? I want them to release the pressure and find a rhythm of flow. And if you're struggling in your life, I need you to reach out to me so that I can help you to find flow. I can share with you some of the things that I did personally, some of the things that I learned in the classroom space, some of the things that I've learned from some of you, some of the things that I've learned from my clients, some of the things that I've learned through research of the benefits of flow, leaving pressure. Some of you may be struggling with blood pressure issues. Yeah, that was part of my challenge because I would be under this pressure all the time. I needed to release and reach for flow. And sit in flow. Take some time off and find your flow. Find your rhythm. I love you and I thank you for meeting me here. And listen, I am going to be flowing this weekend. I'm planning some downtime for myself to take the pressure off and get into flow. And I offer you the same, and come back here next week, same time, maybe not same place. But share with us, how is flow happening in your life? How are you developing that rhythm? Because we've got to shift to flow. Let flow work for you. I am your coach. I am your sister. And I want you to be resilient, to be able to bounce back and to become the best version of yourself. And in doing that, you've got to find your flow. It's in your flow that you really see all the work that you've done. You see the benefits of what you have done. And you're just allowing that to work for you. Take the pressure off and have a wonderful day. I love you and I thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Dr.